Get ready for an exhilarating ride as we bring you live coverage of the UCI Road World Championships. The race is on, and it's an intense battle with 10 women leading in the closing stages. But here's the twist. The favorites are seemingly out of contention. Will the underdogs reign supreme? As we refresh the feed, Marlen Reusser is on a mission, leaving Kopecky in her wake and creating a 10-second gap. They're still 45 seconds behind the front. So this race is far from over. The 5 leaders, now joined by Marcus, have a 1-minute advantage over the favorites group. But the race is anything but straightforward, with riders scattered in between. Time trial champion Marlen Reusser takes the lead, with Longo Borghini in hot pursuit. Last lap, folks. Just 15.1 kilometers to go, and Juliette Labous is leading the French peloton, narrowing the gap to 1:21. Even with the strong lead of the 4 frontrunners, this race is far from a done deal. The leaders are on the penultimate ascent of the Côte de Kimihurura, navigating the cobbles with precision. Garcia, Vallières, and Fischer-Black are joined by Niedermayer, while Marcus struggles to keep up. On the penultimate ascent, Garcia attacks, taking Vallières and Fischer-Black with her. This move has shattered the breakaway, and they now lead 3 chasers by 13 seconds. The leading group comprises an international mix: Vallières, Canada; Marcus, Netherlands; Kopecky, Italy; Calouri and Ruig, Switzerland; Evita Music, France; Benito and Garcia, Spain; Fischer-Black, New Zealand; and Niedermayer, Germany. It's an action-packed race, and the excitement is building. As the peloton approaches the finish line, the race intensifies. Italy's Elisa Longo Borghini makes a bold move, briefly taking a small group to the front and catching the Dutch and French off guard. With 30 kilometers to go, Anna van der Breggen, Netherlands, has been dropped from the reduced peloton. The Dutch team, with Marianne and Marcus in the chasing group, is closing in on the leading duo. 2 laps to go, and the race is heating up. On the cobbles, Benito and Ruig maintain their lead, now 16 seconds ahead of Vass and Lotte, who have been caught by a 10-woman chasing group. With 35 kilometers left, a small group has broken away from the peloton, and surprisingly, none of the favorites are among them. However, all the big teams are represented, adding an element of intrigue. All change. Benito and Ruig still lead the bunch by 50 seconds, but 2 women are strategically positioned in between. Blanca Voss is chasing the leaders, with Ruig's Swiss teammate Jasmine Lotte close behind. The peloton is thinning, and the big names are emerging. Italian rider Elisa Longo Borghini closes a small gap, while the French slowly reel in Amanda Spratt. Benito and Ruig continue to lead, now with a 30-second advantage. With 3 laps remaining, Ruig and Benito lead a peloton of only around 30 riders by 25 seconds. Ashley Mulman-Pasio, South Africa, and Urška Žigart, Slovenia, take the front, but Amanda Spratt, Australia, shakes things up with an attack, creating an unpredictable dynamic. As the bunch hits the cobbles, Switzerland takes the lead. With Ruig up the road, this move could be more about positioning than closing the gap. Ruig and Benito maintain their 30-second lead. Just 50 kilometers to go, and France is forced into action. Benito and Ruig still lead by 20 seconds as they approach the Côte de Kimihurura, with the French squad leading the chase. A few punches off the front, and Mime Fischer-Black, New Zealand, gains a small gap for a while. The new world champion will be crowned in just 50 kilometers. With 55 kilometers left, Van en Rooij's time at the front comes to an end. The Dutchwoman returns to the bunch, and we have 2 new escapees: Noemi Ruig, Switzerland, and Mireia Benito, Spain, who attack and build a 25-second lead on a significantly reduced peloton. With just over 60 kilometers remaining, Shirin van en Rooij, Netherlands, leads the peloton by 16 seconds. 4 laps to go, and the race is wide open. On to the cobbled Côte de Kimihurura, Van en Rooij leads Van de Velde by 20 seconds, with the peloton close behind. Canadian Olivia Barrel is dropped, and Schrempp heroically tries to keep up. This course is relentless. We're on the Côte de Kigali Gulf again, and Van Anrooij is solo at the front, leading the peloton by 37 seconds. Schrempf is the first to be dropped and is caught by the Italian-led bunch. Inside the final 70 kilometers, the race is reaching its climax. Before the race, Anna van der Breggen predicted that the winner would come from one of the biggest teams. Now, with a Dutch rider up the road, it's up to the other big teams to step up. Italy takes the responsibility, while France holds back for now. With only 78 kilometers left, we're past the halfway mark and onto the 7th lap of 11. The two leaders have a 20-second advantage, but they're joined by Dutchwoman Shirin van Anrooij. On the cobbles of the Côte de Kimihurura, Van de Velde catches Schrempf and the Austrian seeks assistance from the Belgian slipstream on the steep gradients. The race is truly kicking off now. The Dutch want a piece of the action, and Yara Kastelein is trying to break away. No one wants to let a Dutchwoman escape, and she's closely marked. Now it's Van Anrooij's turn, and the Italians react, but the race is well underway. The Italian team initially took the chase, but now they seem content with Vass leading the way. With over 80 kilometers to go, Vass is an outstanding rider, but she's not known for ultra-long-range winning moves. The Dutch, Italians, and French are aware of Vass's strength and versatility, and they're chasing her down. We're heading on to yet another ascent of the Côte de Kigali Gulf. With 86 kilometers to go, we witness a massive attack from Uso Ostalaza, Spain. She's followed by a few others, but Blanca Vass, Hungary, attacks and pursues Schrempf. With 6 laps and just over 90 kilometers remaining, the peloton is closing in on solo breakaway rider Carina Schrempf, who leads by 1:40. The Canadian team makes its presence known at the front of the peloton, but the Italians are ever present on the cobbled Côte de Kimihurura, as Schrempf's advantage drops below 2 minutes. Schrempf maintains her lead after the 5th ascent of the Côte de Kigali Gulf, but her advantage is shrinking. It had extended to 2 minutes and 50 seconds, but as she approaches the cobbled climb again, it's down to 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Less than 100 kilometers left, and the race is intensifying. Sara Gigante's win on Stage 7 of the Giro d'Italia Women, where she climbed 3,700 meters over 150 kilometers, holds the record for the most vertical ascent by the women's peloton this year. While the World Championships are prestigious, they're not the longest race the women's peloton has ridden this year. Gent-Wevelgem and Tour of Flanders were longer, but with less climbing. Cecilie Uttrup Ludwig, who would have excelled on the Kigali circuit, had to withdraw due to a parasitic stomach infection. She's on the mend but missed the race this week. Carina Schrempf completes the 4th lap at the top of the Côte de Kimihurura, and despite some attacks in the bunch, her lead has grown to 3:36 again, with the peloton taking it easier on the climb. With 110 kilometers to go, we finish another ascent of the Côte de Kigali Gulf, and the pace in the peloton has eased for a while. Action at the front. Some attacks in the bunch have lifted the pace significantly, with Shirin van Anrooij leading for the Dutch team. Carina Schrempf, Austria, leads onto the 4th lap by 2:50. The bunch remains large, with fewer riders dropped from the race compared to the opening laps. 120 kilometers to go, and the race is heating up. On the Côte de Kimihurura, for the 3rd time, Schrempf leads by almost 3 minutes. The last time an Austrian woman led alone in a major championship was at the Tokyo Olympics, where Anna Kiesenhofer won gold. Just saying. The Dutch team is completed by Shirin van Anrooij, Paulina Royakkers, Yara Kastelein, and De Vries, each bringing unique strengths to the team. Today, we'll find out if any lingering issues affect their performance. Marianne Vos, a 3-time Road World Champion with an impressive palmarès, initially selected to ride, withdrew for personal reasons. Her absence is a significant loss for the Dutch team. Carina Schrempf, Austria, is on a mission, extending her lead to 1:15 as she hits the cobbles of the Côte de Kimihurura for the 2nd time. The Austrian is an accomplished climber and a former national champion. Austria's sole representative, Carina Schrempf, attacks the bunch and takes a 40-second lead on the ascent of the Côte de Kigali Gulf. The short, sharp climb has brought back many breakaways during earlier road races this week. But today, the peloton lets her go. The first attack. The opening lap takes its toll, with many riders pulled from the race after being dropped from the bunch. Among them are the Mauritian pair of Lucie de Marigny-Legesse and Aurélie Halboix, leaving pre-race favorite Kim Lecourt-Pinard isolated. The pace up the Côte de Kimihurura and across the finish line at the end of the first lap is high, but the race is still together at the front. Italy controls the race, but Australia takes the front. The circuit is demanding, with 2 main climbs and several smaller inclines. The cautious start suggests riders are feeling out the race, testing their legs before challenging their opponents. Over the first ascent of the Côte de Kigali Gulf, we await the first concerted attack. The biggest teams remain tightly packed at the front, while some riders from smaller nations have slipped off the back of the peloton. The only elite British woman at the Worlds this year is Anna Henderson, last year's Olympic silver medalist, who finished 8th in the individual time trial, 1:37 behind winner Marlen Reusser. GB didn't send any women to the elite women's race, despite being allocated the maximum 6 places. They've sent a team to the women's elite race every year since 1995, winning twice with Nicole Cook in 2008 and Lizzie Deignan Armitstead in 2015. The pace is high on the descent of the opening kilometers, but there are no attacks. Instead, we see the Dutch, Australians, French, and Norwegians among the nations at the front of the bunch. The race is on, with 104 riders from 44 nations hoping to win the rainbow jersey in the 2025 Elite Women's Road Race. The Belgian team has also been affected by the withdrawal of Justine Guéquier, the national road champion, due to injuries from a high-speed crash during the GP Stuttgart. Defending champion Lotte Kopecky opted out of defending her title after winning the rainbow jersey in 2023 and 2024. She's had a challenging year, starting the season under par due to injury during winter preparation. Who will win? We'll have to wait a few hours to find out, but you can read our analysis of the pre-race favorites here. Each lap contains 2 main climbs. The Côte de Kigali Gulf, with an average gradient of 8.1% over 800 meters, comes first, followed by the cobbled Côte de Kimihurura within the closing 3 kilometers of the lap. Over the top of the climb, riders face the final brutal kilometer and its short ramp to the finish line. The weather is not ideal, with 26 degrees feeling more like 29 degrees and a chance of rain on the circuit. With cobbles and descending all day, any moisture could add an extra challenge to an already fascinating race. It's a long, challenging day with 3,350 meters of vertical ascent over 11 laps of the 15.2-kilometer circuit. Kigali's altitude of 1,800 meters above sea level adds to the route's difficulty. The Elite Women's World Championships route is tough, with riders tackling a 164.6-kilometer parcours, comprising 11 laps of the Kigali circuit. Before the Elite Women's race, you can read how Paula Osits, Spain, won the junior women's race here. The elite women are set to start their race in less than an hour, but we've already had an exciting race this morning. Paula Osits, Spain, won the junior women's race in a sprint from a small group. Good morning and welcome to Cycling News' live coverage of the first elite road race from this year's Road World Championships.